Melanie. Welcome to my channel. So today I have another book outlet haul for you. So stay tuned. So as you can tell, I lost my mind. And I went insane again when Book Outlet had another buy more, save more sale. So yeah, I ordered a lot. There's like 68 books here. So all three of these boxes each have over 20 books in them. So I'm probably gonna break this up into like 2 or 3 parts because it would be hours long to try to do this in one video. So yeah, I'm gonna break this up, but hopefully you enjoy it, which I know you will because y'all love some Book Outlet hauls. All right, let me get something to open these up. I'm going to move 2 of these boxes out of the way so I just have one here to work with, and we're gonna get started. Okay, so I moved you a little bit closer too so I could more easily show you the books. But I wanted to start with this box because when it arrived like this, where it's like busted open. So I want to open this quickly to make sure that everything is okay in it. All right, and we have paper, and paper. I got my receipt here. Woohoo! Also got another $5 coupon. Love those things. So many books. Okay, so the first book I have in here, wow, this is a really heavy, dense little book. So it is Eat This, Not That, Supermarket Survival Guide. Thousands of easy food swaps that can save you 10, 20, 30 pounds or more. So it's just kind of like tells you a better choice for things. Like, for example, this Breyer's Blast Miss Fields chocolate chunk cookie dough. Half a cup is 140 calories and 5 grams of fat, versus the Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough, which a half a cup of that is 270 calories and 14 grams of fat. So it's just that kind of thing, like showing you the better breads and cereals. And so I thought that might be handy for our family. And this was $4.29. Okay, so next up we have Once Upon a Kiss by Robin Palmer, and she's the author of Geek Charming. She also does Cindy Ella, Little Miss Red, and Wicked Jealous, which all look like cute little retellings. This one, I don't know if it's a retelling about anything, but it says the future isn't always a fairy tale. And it says trade perms for popularity as if 1986, 16-year-old Zoe Brenner might not be the most popular girl in school. Okay, not even close. But all she really cares about is her best friend Jonah and trying to survive at Castle Heights High. Fast forward 30 years. Thanks to a freak accident. Zoe looks and feels the same, but everything else is totally different. Now she's Queen Bee at Castle Heights. She wears all pink. Really? And she's dating Brad Bundy, the biggest jock and possibly biggest airhead in school. Now, Zoe has no idea how she got to the future, and she needs Jonah's help to find a way back. There's just one problem in this life: Jonah won't even speak to her. And it just sounded really cute. So this was only 99 cents. Also by Robin Palmer, we have Cindy Ella, which I just mentioned. And I'm pretty sure this is a Cinderella retelling. And this says, prom, the best dress, the best shoes, the best date. Cindy Ella Gold is sick of it all. Prom fever has infected LA, especially Cindy's 2 annoying stepsisters and her overly Botoxed stepmother. Cindy seems to be the only one immune to it all. But her anti-prom letter in the school newspaper does more to turn Cindy into queen of the freaks than to close the gap between the popular kids and the rest of the students. Everyone thinks she's committed social suicide, except for her 2 best friends, the yoga goddess India and John Hughes, worshiping Malcolm and, shockingly, the most popular senior at Castle Heights High, and Cindy's crush Adam Silver. But with a little bit of help from an unexpected source and the perfect pair of shoes, Cindy realizes that she still has a chance at happily ever after. And it just sounded cute, and I love a good retelling. So this seemed like a fun, light summer read. This might be actually one I take with me on my cruise. And this was $2.19. Okay, next up is Whisper to Me by Nick Lake. And it says, however loud life gets, you can always hear love. And I thought this was going to be like the size of Cindy-Ella, like this. It's like this. This thing is big. I really was not expecting that. It says, Cassie fell hard for a boardwalk boy over the summer, and then she broke his heart. But he only knows one side of the story. Desperate to make things right, Cassie composes the most screwed up love letter ever, full of I'm sorry's, explanations, and an ultimatum. If he's willing to start over, if he can forgive her, she'll be waiting for him at 5 p.m. Friday at the mini golf course. As Cassie tells her story from the beginning, she edges closer to the truth. Why she pushed him away, why her father got so angry when he saw them together, why she would disappear sometimes, why she wouldn't let herself remember what happened that long ago night, why she fell apart so completely and nearly lost herself. With everything at stake, will revealing all her secrets set her free? And there's a blurb that says, raw and lovely, dark and light, heartbreaking and human, and it left me both aching and filled. Jennifer Naveen, New York Times bestselling author of All the Bright Places. This definitely sounds like something I would really enjoy. And this was $3.79. Okay, next up is Burning Blue by Paul Griffin. And this is about a girl named Nicole Castro, and she is the most beautiful, most popular girl in school. And somebody splashes acid on her face and messes up her beautiful face. And a boy named Jay Nazaro, who is one of her classmates, but he's also very quiet and a loner, but he's very smart at the same time. He knows what it feels like to be a freak and be the outcast, and instead of just gawking at her, he wants to kind of help figure out who did it. And the amount of suspects keeps climbing on who's done this to this girl, and even Nicole herself is a suspect, and it just sounded really interesting. And this book was only 99 cents. So next up is The Boy Who Drew Monsters by Keith Donahue. And this is about a boy named Jack who, when he was 7 years old, he almost drowned. And from that point forward, he refused to leave his house. He was too frightened to leave his house anymore. And fast forward 3 years later, he draws these monsters. And it just so happens that his apparitions are kind of coming to life and haunting those around him. And this is supposed to be like a psychological horror kind of book. And it's kind of a small book, and it seemed like it would be a good, quick, intense, fun read. And there's a blurb on the back by Entertainment Weekly that says, a chilling Christmas-time horror yarn. Like a child's attention, the book may seem to wander in its final third before ultimately revealing itself to have been horribly on point all along. A New York Times book review says, ingenious. Donahue unspools his simple story patiently and delivering jolts when necessary, but mostly concentrating on the stress generated in a family with an unhappy child. It's a modest novel, elegantly worked, with a nice chilly twist at the end. And those are always fun. And this was $3.19. Okay, next up is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. And this looked like a super cute, fun contemporary. It's about a girl who is kind of perfect at everything she does with school and sports, and she just really, really excels and tries very hard. But when it comes to boys, she falls flat on her face, and she just can't. And her attempts at flirting tend to become legendary with her friends, and it's all just a joke. until the most beautiful boy she's ever seen comes around, and she's determined to succeed with her flirting. So she takes to watching these Korean dramas that her dad is like obsessed with, and she starts studying them like she studies everything else, school, sports, whatever. And she's planning on doing what they do in these Korean dramas, because by the 10th episode they've always gotten their man pretty much. So that's her goal, and she kind of comes up with a step-by-step Korean drama plan to get the boy, and it just sounded really cute. And this was $4.79. Okay, next up is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. You can see it actually has a Walmart sticker on it. It was $18.99 and Walmart's price was $16.14. But just so you know, I paid $4.79 from Book Outlet. So this says, stop the magician, steal the book, save the future. I totally had flashes of save the cheerleader, save the world. Some of you will get that. Anyway, it says stop the magician, steal the book, save the future. In modern day New York, magic is all but extinct. The remaining few have an affinity for magic. The mages live in the shadows, hiding who they are. Any mages who enter Manhattan become trapped by the brink, a dark energy barrier that confines them to the island. Crossing it means losing their power, and often their lives. Esta is a talented thief, and she's been raised to steal magical artifacts from the sinister order that created the brink. With her innate ability to manipulate time, Esta can pilfer from the past, collecting these artifacts before the order even realizes she's there. And all of Esta's training has been for one final job: traveling back to 1902 to steal an ancient book containing the secrets of the order and the brink, before the magician can destroy it and doom the mages to a hopeless future. But old New York is a dangerous world ruled by ruthless gangs and secret societies, a world where the very air crackles with magic. Nothing is as it seems, including the magician himself. And for Esta to save her future, she may have to betray everyone in the past. And I thought that sounded really interesting. It kind of gives me a little bit of like The Passengers and Wayfarer vibe, where they're time traveling and all of that. Sounds really cool. I enjoyed those books though. Okay, next up is the first two books in the Ruined series by Amy Tintera. We have Ruined and Avenged. And this series follows two teens on opposing sides of a war as they try to become leaders in their respective kingdoms, while at the same time falling in love with each other. And Ruined was $6.39 and Avenged was $5.89. Next up is a book for Xander, and that is The Yeti Files, Monsters on the Run by Kevin Sherry. And this is the second book in the Yeti Files series. So he actually got the first one of these in an Owl Crate Junior box, and he really enjoyed it. So I went on Book Outlet to see if I could find more of them, and I was able to get the third book in a past haul, and as soon as that order went through, the second book became available, so I got it when I did this one. But they're just like this cute little graphic novel, and they're all like, you know, mythological creatures in it. I think the third one was like the Kraken or something like that. And it looks like this one's like the Loch Ness Monster and T-Rex or something. Anyway, this book was $4.29. Okay, next up is Dangerous Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. And this is kind of like a side story to the Beautiful Creatures series. And it doesn't follow our main characters from Beautiful Creatures. It actually follows Ridley, who is a siren, and she's kind of a bad guy. She wasn't a good character in Beautiful Creatures. And so this was an interesting little offshoot of that, going into a story about her. And it says, Ridley Ducanis is nobody's heroine. She's a dark caster, a siren. She can make you do things, anything. You can't trust her or yourself when she's around. And she'll be the first to tell you to stay away, especially if you're going to do something as stupid as fall in love with her. Lucky for Ridley, her wannabe rocker boyfriend, Wesley Link Lincoln, never listens to anyone. Link doesn't care if Rid's no good for him, and he takes her along when he leaves small-town Gatlin to follow his rock star dream. He teams up with a ragtag group of dark casters, and when the band scores a gig at a hot underground club, it looks like all of Link's dreams are about to come true. But New York City is a dangerous place for both casters and mortals, and soon Ridley realizes that Link's bandmates are keeping secrets. With bad boy club owner Lennox Gates on her heels, Ridley is determined to find out the truth. What she discovers is worse than she could have imagined. Link has a price on his head, and no caster or mortal can ever pay. With their lives on the line, what's a siren to do? And I love the Beautiful Creatures series, and I love Kami Garcia's books, so I had to get this when it came up on book outlets. And this was $4.29. Sorry if there's a lot of background noise going on. My dogs are outside barking, and my daughter's got laundry going in the room next to us, so. Okay, next up is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. And this is about Samantha Kingston, and she has it all. She's got the looks, the popularity, the perfect boyfriend, until February 12th. On February 12th, well, that's her last day. The catch is, she wakes up the next day, but it's the same day, I believe. And I think she's reliving the same day over and over again. And I don't know if it's trying to figure out what happened and to save herself or who caused her death. I'm not entirely sure. But there's a movie about it, and I think I've seen the movie, but it's been a long, long time. It just sounded really familiar. Kind of like a Groundhog Day, but thriller. Something like that. And this was $2.69. Okay, next up is Long May She Reign by Rhiannon Thomas. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. But this is about a girl named Freya who is 23rd in line for the crown. She doesn't expect to ever get to the crown. She doesn't really want the crown. She'd rather spend her time doing research and in her laboratory. But then one day at this extravagant ball, the king and queen and everyone closest to them are poisoned and killed. And Freya finds herself with the crown. And she can't really trust anybody because she doesn't know who did it. And she's got to figure out who did it and keep herself alive while figuring this out. And decide if she really wants to keep the crown or if she wants to give it to somebody else. And this was $6.39. Okay, so next up is Autumn the City by David Moody. And this is the second book in the Autumn series. I'm not sure when this video goes up compared to another video, but I actually have the first book as well that will be in a different haul video that I got because I got it from like Thrift Books. But since this is the second book, I'm not going to tell you about this one, but I have pulled up the Goodreads for the first book and I can tell you about it. It says, a bastard hybrid of War of the Worlds and Night of the Living Dead, Autumn chronicles the struggle of a small group of survivors forced to contend with a world torn apart by a deadly disease. After 99% of the population of the planet is killed in less than 24 hours, for the very few who have managed to stay alive, things are about to get much worse. Animated by Phase 2 of some unknown contagion, the dead begin to rise. At first slow, blind, dumb, and lumbering, quickly the bodies regain their most basic senses and abilities, sight, hearing, locomotion, as well as the instinct toward aggression and violence. Held back only by the restraints of their rapidly decomposing flesh, the dead seem to have only one single goal, to lumber forth and destroy the sole remaining attraction in the silent, lifeless world. Those who have survived the plague, who now find themselves outnumbered 1,000,000 to 1. Without ever using the Z word, Autumn offers a new perspective on the traditional zombie story. There's no flesh eating, no fast moving corpses, no gore for gore's sake. Combining the atmosphere and tone of George Romero's classic Living Dead films with the attitude and awareness of 28 Days and Weeks Later, this horrifying and suspenseful novel is filled with relentless, cold, dark fear. And this was $1.19. Okay, next up is Speak of the Devil by Alison Leota. And this is the third book in the Anna Curtis series, which I have a few of them right behind me, actually. I've got like 3 of them there. And these are legal thrillers about a woman named Anna Curtis who is a prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. And this was actually a scratch and dent. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's weird. I think the cover was actually printed strange. Like, it's the front and back cover, and you can feel it through it. It's really weird, and it's like 2 different colors. But this was a scratch and dent because of that. And this was $2.69. Okay, next up I have a duology by Amy Tintera. We have Reboot and Rebel. And on Reboot it says, 5 years ago I died, 178 minutes later I woke up. And on Rebel it says, I was dead for 178 minutes. I'm not ready to die again. So I'll read you about Reboot, but not Rebel, because Rebel's the second book. But Reboot says, 5 years ago, Wren Connolly was shot 3 times in the chest. After 178 minutes, she came back as a reboot. Stronger, faster, able to heal, and less emotional. The longer reboots are dead, the less human they are when they return. Wren 178 is the deadliest reboot in the Republic of Texas. Now 17 years old, she serves as a soldier for HARC, Human Advancement and Repopulation Corporation. Wren's favorite part of her job is training new reboots, but her latest newbie, Calum Reyes, is the worst she's ever seen. As a 22, Calum is practically human. His reflexes are too slow, he's always asking questions, and his ever-present smile is freaking her out. Yet he's still her newbie. When Calum refuses to follow an order, Wren is given one last chance to get him in line, or she'll have to eliminate him. Wren has never disobeyed before, and knows that if she does, she'll be eliminated too. But she has also never felt as alive as she does around Calum. The perfect soldier is done taking orders. And there's a blurb that says, fast-paced and thrilling. I devoured this book. And they just sound like a lot of fun. Reboot costs $4.29 and Rebel costs $3.19. Okay, so the last 2 books in my box is another duology by Rhiannon Thomas. And we have A Wicked Thing and Kingdom of Ashes. And this is like my favorite kind of story here. It's a fairy tale retelling. This is an after the end retelling of Sleeping Beauty. So it's about what happened after the happily ever after. And well, I just love any of that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading these. A Wicked Thing costs $5.89 and Kingdom of Ashes costs $5.89. Okay, so let me total up these 20 books for you. The subtotal for all 20 books was $78.10. But with their buy more, save more, I got $20 off, which brought that down to $58.10. And then I used $20 in rewards, which brought this down to $38.10. So on average, a little bit less than $2 a book. Yeah, that's pretty good. I spent $38 on 20 books. Okay, so that is all for part 1 of this book haul, and make sure to check back often to see part 2 and maybe part 3. Probably 3 parts. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time,